What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this quick conversation about R. Kelly. So, first, before I get into the point of this video, I just wanted to say that the victims have to be commended for being able to come out and tell their story and to feel like they were in somewhat of a safe space to talk about what happened to them. And I think that the documentary Surviving R. Kelly created somewhat of a safe space for them. And every article I read today, when the news came out that he was going to be sentenced for 30 years for sex trafficking and racketeering, every article I read just about mentioned the documentary and how the documentary is what basically started all of this and made it possible to bring all these charges against R. Kelly. So the victims, absolute heroes for themselves, for other victims across the world. And they just did a really good job, an awesome job in bringing justice for themselves. And I think that when you are a victim of this type of abuse or of this type of crime, it's just I think it's just continue. It's ongoing. The nightmares are ongoing, and the fact that this man is going to be finally put behind bars, hopefully that gives them the tiniest peace of mind, knowing that he is away. And I'm just wondering, are there going to be charges for the people that aided and abetted him in victimizing these women, these females, these young girls? Are they going to face justice as well? Or what's going on with that? Because when you hear how so many people were involved in helping him victimize these young girls, it's like, wow. Nobody wanted to stand up and say, no, this isn't right. I'm not going to put up with this. And I'd rather lose my job than be a party to this, disgusting, vile acts that he's committing. Like, nobody at all. Like, what's going to happen with that? The What's going to happen with that? Nothing. We're just going to act like he did this all by himself. So he's going to be going away for a very long time. Hopefully there's no legal loophole that's going to have him released like Bill Cosby. Hopefully he will just stay there. Just go away, R. Kelly, and just stay there. What I really wanted to talk about, though, in this video was, once again, this is just like amazing to me how this list of people who accomplished so much, who achieved all of their goals, and now they lost it all over some very, very, very poor decision making. So it's so obvious to a lot of people, and it was very obvious to the jury, that these acts that R. Kelly committed were very deliberate, voluntary acts. His lawyers try to paint a picture of him also being a victim because of the abuse that he suffered. He was illiterate. People were always taking advantage of him. He had a very horrible childhood, and this is what led to him committing these acts. Sort of like his environment. But for his environment, he would not have done these things. So we have to blame the environment that he came from. But these acts were very deliberate. He saw, if his childhood was dark, if his childhood was tragic, well, he ended up living a life of opulence and luxury and free will. So these acts that he committed when he was wealthy, and some of them were done before then, but more so after he became R. Kelly and he became the superstar that he was, these acts that he committed were very deliberate. And the things that he did, that you're causing pain on another human being, and you continue to do them. There's no one that could ever think that some of the things that he did were done because the women or the females or the girls were consenting to this. There's no way. Absolutely no way. He was doing things to his victims that were horrible things, that were painful things, that was causing physical, emotional, and mental pain. So there's no way that he thought that, oh, what we're doing right now is totally consensual. They're down with this. Absolutely not. He was an abuser. He was a monster. He was a predator. And finally, he got his comeuppance. He's going away for a very long time. Hopefully, let's keep our fingers crossed. And that's the end of that. So what I really wanted to talk about, though, like I said, was how does someone who was fortunate enough to come from nothing and climb his way to the top of the music industry and become the king of R&B, why do things that will make you lose it all completely? And I understand there was this whole mentality that he had that he was never going to get caught, that he was going to continue to do this because there's a whole bunch of yes men around him who assisted him in doing whatever he was doing, that made him feel like that what he was doing was not wrong, that probably encouraged him to do some of these things. So he was in this bubble where he felt like he was untouchable. But it just boggles my mind how you would think that once you achieve a certain level of success, that you would do everything at all costs to protect. It just boggles my mind how people, so many people, lack common sense. Like just the fact of, I don't want to do anything to hurt someone else. He couldn't live by that rule at all. And just by the mere fact of, okay, I've accomplished so much, so I don't want to do anything to lose all that I've worked for. He couldn't even live by that. It's like his need to victimize overpowered his desire to stay successful, to stay free, to stay the king of R&B, to stay wealthy. Like he would rather like risk it all to be a monster to practically children and terrorize children. Like he would rather do that than be like, you know what, I'm just gonna control my demons and I'm going to just walk on the right path of life so that I can preserve what I've worked so hard for. And the fact that you even have children, and it seemed like when I watched Surviving R. Kelly, it seemed like and of course, I only heard one side of the story. R. Kelly obviously didn't speak for himself, but it seemed like there was like a disconnect between him and his children. Like you don't really see pictures of R. Kelly's kids, and I don't know if this is deliberate on him and his ex-wife or what was going on with that. But it's like you don't really see. Well, I don't. Maybe they are out there, but they're not like I haven't. But it's like you never like when I found out that R. Kelly was married and had children, I was shocked. I was really surprised. I had no idea because he presented himself as this, super duper bachelor. I was shocked that he had a wife and children. Until this day, I couldn't tell you how many kids R. Kelly has. You know, I can tell you how many kids Michael Jordan has. I can tell you how many kids Diddy has. I can tell you how many kids a lot of these people have. But R. Kelly, I still couldn't tell you how many children he has. So even like, okay, forget about the wealth, forget about the fact that you don't want to hurt other people. But even like as a father, as a parent, you're not like, you know what, I really shouldn't get involved with these shenanigans because I've got kids. And, heaven forbid if it ever comes out, that I was doing these crazy things and my kids find out about it. Not even that, the humiliation, the possibility of being humiliated and having your children find out the things that you've been doing, not even that could stop him from preying on these girls. Not even that. Like absolutely nothing could stop them. And it's just absolutely like amazing to me. Like I wish I could do a study on this or write a paper on this or write a book about this because it's just crazy because for us regular average people, the little bit that we have that we've worked hard for, we're like, you know what, I don't want to do anything to mess this up. Like if you have a really good job, you try not to do anything that's going to jeopardize your job. You try not to do things that's going to embarrass your family or your kids. You try not to do things that's going to, cause you to lose whatever wealth you've accumulated or however much money you've been able to earn or save or accumulate. It's like, okay, I'm not going to do anything I'm not going to get involved in any kind of, white collar crimes that's gonna, cause me to lose my money. The average person has enough sense to try to keep their nose clean, but you would think that the people who have the most, who work the hardest, that they would feel like this even more, like 10 times as much as we do. But it's like they don't. And I guess it's that whole thing of just being untouchable, of being spoiled by the public and spoiled by the people around them, that they feel like they can do whatever and they can still maintain everything they have. Because when R. Kelly did that interview with Gayle King, and he was like, acting up and got really angry and emotional and was standing up and yelling, I was looking at him like, but if you're this emotional about these accusations that are being thrown at you, why couldn't you do better? Like, why couldn't you do better? These accusations were not created out of thin air, okay? Because I'm not being accused of those things. A whole bunch of people aren't being accused of those things. It's you being accused of those things. Like, why would someone pick you out of all these people out here who are also celebrities, who are also wealthy, famous? Why would the people pick you out of all these other people to throw these accusations at? So you're up there hooting and hollering and scaring poor Gail King, but it's all based on the decisions that you made. The decisions that you made. Time after time after time, R. Kelly was given a chance after chance after chance of redeeming himself. We all know in the very, very beginning in the 90s, a whole story that came out with him and what he did to that young girl, the whole thing with the golden showers. We all heard about that. We all knew about that, but we were kind of like, okay, we don't really know what was going on there, but let's just keep it moving. We're still going to rock with him. We still support him. We're still going to buy his music. And then there was another case that came up that he ended up, I think the charges were dropped or something like that, but he had to pay the girl a settlement or something. We still were rocking with him. And it's like, R. Kelly, you have been given so many chances. The things that were happening in the 90s that you got away with, that we knew about, but you still got away with, you should be like thinking you're lucky stars that anybody is giving you the time of day. And we still gave him the time of day. And he completely just, took advantage of that, didn't really care, didn't really give it. And he continued to victimize people. R. Kelly, you ran out of chances. You can only get so many. You ran out of chances. And it's absolutely your fault, 100%. We can maybe sympathize a little bit about your childhood and what you went through because it was a tragic story, but we sympathize with you not as the man that you are. We sympathize for the child that was going through those things back then. You, the man that you are, victimizing other people, having other people live real life nightmares, we can't roll with that. We can't sympathize with you on that level. Absolutely not. So the whole thing about someone who is making the wrong decision time and time again, absolutely sad. A very tragic story that a music career I'm just like, I don't even know how to put my words together. The fact that you overcame so many challenges, R. Kelly. You overcame so many challenges to become what you became and have the whole world just like in your hand, and you just blew it all away. You completely blew it all away. And that's just amazing to me. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And it reminds me of the whole Will Smith situation. Now, when the Will Smith situation broke out, I didn't talk about it. I didn't do a video about it. I didn't give any commentary about it because I was like, what else can possibly be said? It was so much said about it. So many opinions given about it. I was like, I have nothing to add. I have absolutely nothing to add. But what I can say about Will Smith is that we were witnessing a person, once again, who had so much. We were witnessing someone very slowly, very intentionally making a decision that could have caused him to lose it all. Now, I don't know if Will Smith's career is over or not. I have a feeling that it's not. I don't know if he's back in the United States. The last I heard, he went to Asia to go find himself or something. So I have no idea like what's going on right now as far as I just don't know. I have a feeling that, Will Smith is gonna make a huge comeback. But it was a risk that he took. And then we were sitting there like watching this, like anybody that downloaded the video or whatever on YouTube, wherever, watched it on television, anybody that was watching this, we were all watching someone intentionally make the wrong decision. Someone who had accumulated so much, who came from practically nothing to so much success, sitting on top of the world, so much success, so well loved. I mean, you don't hear anything bad about Will Smith. He's been able to keep his nose clean in Hollywood his entire career. You hear nothing bad about Will Smith. And then you're watching this man deliberately do something where he can potentially lose it all, everything that he's ever worked for, and could have possibly, theoretically, realistically, we know it wasn't going to happen, but theoretically, he could have possibly ended up in jail. I mean, I'm not saying he was going to spend a lifetime in jail, maybe a couple of days and come out and deal with this whole criminal case. That was theoretically a possibility that someone would tarnish their career, would risk tarnishing their career. It was just amazing for me to watch. Like, he is getting out of that chair and walking to that stage and assaulting this man on camera. He is deliberately making these decisions. And it wasn't just like a spur of the moment type of thing where he just bounced off his seat and pimp slapped him. It wasn't even like that. It was like very slowly he was making the decision with each step that he took. I am walking up the stage and I am going to slap this man and the whole world is going to see me and I'm going to do this. It was just amazing to me. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely crazy. But we're not going to get into all of that because, like I said, there's nothing else to be said about Will Smith and Chris Rock and Jada Pinkett. Everything that could possibly be said, every opinion that could possibly be given has been already put out there. But hopefully this is the end of the... Oh, no, it's not the end because R. Kelly still has more charges coming up. I think he has a trial coming up in August for child pornography. So the saga continues. It's just really sad. It is really sad all the way around. It's sad for R. Kelly. It's sad for his victims. It's sad for his fans because R. Kelly was huge in the music industry. He was a crossover. Everybody knew him. It wasn't just, the black audience that knew him. It was international. He crossed all racial boundaries. He worked with all kinds of people in the industry. He helped people, so many people with their careers in the music industry. He did so much as a performer, a writer, a producer, that. I mean, he did so much. And now he's just going to be sitting in jail for at least the next 30 years. This is how his story ended. This is how his story ended. I was there in the very beginning with R. Kelly and Public Announcement, their very first single. I was there. And this is how his career ends, with him sitting behind bars for the next 30 years of his life. Absolutely insane. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, subscribe, please. If you don't like it, don't worry about it, but I will definitely talk to you later.